Owen only hoped for $10 when he brought his beloved toy car to the flea market, but he ended up receiving $10,000 from a stranger. What he does next leaves the boy and his mom in complete shock. If this love story speaks to your heart, one simple subscription means the world to us. Help us reach our 1,000 subscriber milestone. Before we begin, let us know in the comments where you're watching us from, and please like this video to support the channel. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. Owen clutched his worn toy car, a gift from his mom on his 4th birthday, remembering the days when her laughter filled their home like sunlight. Now, because of her illness, her smiles were rare, and he had overheard her, desperately asking the pharmacist for a cheaper option she couldn't afford, his small voice lost in the chatter of the market. Toy car for sale. It's really special. A man with a scruffy beard stopped and looked at the items before shaking his head. How much for the car, kid? Owen straightened. $10. Sorry, kid, can't do $10. He walked away, leaving Owen gripping the toy even tighter. Minutes passed. The sun grew hotter. What if no one bought it? Then a shadow fell over him. Owen looked up to see a tall man in a sleek gray suit standing in front of him. He had the kind of presence that made people move out of his way without him saying a word. What are you selling? My car. He held it out carefully. How much? Owen hesitated. Should he lower the price? Would this man walk away like the others? But no, he couldn't. He needed the money. $10, he said firmly. The man raised an eyebrow. That must be one special car. Owen nodded. It is, but my mom needs medicine and we don't have enough money. I'll take it, he said. Owen's breath caught. Really? The man nodded, but instead of pulling out his wallet, he took out a slim checkbook. He wrote something down, tore out the check, and handed it to Owen along with the car. He had expected a few crumpled bills, maybe a $10 bill if he was lucky, but when he looked down, his breath hitched. $10,000. His fingers trembled as he stared at the number. This is too much, he whispered. The man's voice was calm, but firm. It's exactly what it's worth. He felt like his heart was about to burst out of his chest. Thank you so much. The man gave a small nod. What's your name, kid? Owen. Well, Owen, you take that check to your mom, okay? Owen clutched it tightly, as if afraid it would disappear. I will. The man hesitated for a brief moment before standing up and ruffling Owen's hair lightly. Take care of her. With that, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Before Owen could even ask his name, he grabbed his other toys, stuffed them into his backpack, and ran all the way home, his small legs pumping as fast as they could. When he burst through the apartment door, panting and flushed, Emily sat up from the couch, startled. Owen, where have you been? He practically flew into her arms, thrusting the check into her hands. Mom, we can buy the medicine. We can buy all of it. Emily took the paper, her brow furrowed in confusion. But when she saw the amount, she gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Owen, where did you get this? I sold my car, he said simply. Oh, sweetheart, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. You didn't have to do that. But I wanted to, he said, his voice muffled against her shoulder. I just want you to be okay. I am okay, because I have you. Emily sat at the kitchen table long after Owen had fallen asleep, staring at the check as if it might vanish the moment she blinked. It was an impossible number, one that didn't belong in her hands. The next morning, Emily received the medicine, and for the first time in months, relief washed over her, as she allowed herself to believe things might get better. When her health was stabilized, Emily found a job at a small design firm she had hoped for, even though the job wasn't glamorous and the pay wasn't high. Owen beamed when she told him. That's awesome, Mom, he said, his brown eyes shining with pride. Now we won't have to worry anymore, right? Right, baby. But even as she said it, her thoughts drifted back to the man at the flea market. the one who had made all of this possible. Who was he? Would she ever see him again? On the other side of the city, James Reeves couldn't stop thinking about the little boy selling a toy car and the desperation in his voice for his mother, making him wonder if the money had helped and if she was better. So one evening after work, he told his driver to take a detour. As the car pulled up, he hesitated. He had no real reason to be here. What was he going to do? Knock on the door and announce himself? That was ridiculous. Before he could change his mind, movement near the entrance caught his eye. A woman and a small boy were stepping out, the child tugging on her hand, laughing. But it wasn't the boy that made James pause. It was the mother. She was nothing like he had pictured. She was beautiful in a way that was effortless, in a way that made something shift in his chest. And yet, before he could turn away, Owen spotted him. The little boy's eyes widened, and before James could even think, Owen broke into a run, his small legs carrying him across the pavement. He called out, waving his arms, "It's you! Mom, this is the guy, the one who bought my car!" James extended his hand, the corner of his mouth tilting slightly. James Reeves. Emily hesitated before shaking it, her fingers warm against his. Emily Harper. Owen, oblivious to the unspoken tension, grinned up at him. "You came to check on us, huh?" James hesitated before nodding. "I guess I did." Emily's lips parted in surprise, and for a moment, he thought she might tell him to leave. But then, slowly, she smiled. "Would you like to come in?" James wasn't sure why he said yes, but as he followed them inside, he had a feeling this was only the beginning. Emily had always been a firm believer in repaying kindness. No matter how hard life got, she had never wanted to owe anyone anything. It was a matter of pride, of dignity, of proving to herself and the world that she could stand on her own 2 feet. A few weeks later, she standing outside the towering glass building of Reeves Enterprises, clutching an envelope in her hands, wondering if she was making a mistake. The receptionist barely glanced up. "I'm here to see James Reeves," Emily said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Do you have an appointment?" "No," Emily admitted, shifting the envelope in her hands. "But I just need 5 minutes of his time. Mr. Reeves doesn't take unscheduled meetings." Before Emily could respond, a familiar voice cut through the air. "It's fine. Let her through." His office was massive, lined with floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the city skyline. It was the kind of space that made her feel even smaller than she already did. But she refused to let it intimidate her. She placed the envelope on his desk before he could even take a seat. "This is for you," she said firmly. James arched a brow, leaning against the edge of his desk. "And what is this exactly?" Emily lifted her chin. "It's the first installment of what I owe you. It's not much, but I'll keep paying you back little by little until the full $10,000 is returned." For a long moment, James said nothing. He simply stared at her, his expression unreadable. Then with a sigh, he picked up the envelope, and without even opening it, placed it right back in front of her. "No." Emily blinked. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean, no. It wasn't a loan. You don't have to pay me back." "I do. I can't just take money from someone, especially someone I barely know." James exhaled, shaking his head. "You're not taking anything. I gave it to Owen because he needed it. Because you needed it. That's all there is to it." Emily clenched her fists, frustrated by his easy dismissal of something that felt so significant to her. "I don't want to feel like I owe you." He studied her for a moment, then leaned forward slightly. "Then don't. I didn't do it so you'd feel indebted to me. I did it because your son was willing to give up the one thing he treasured most just to help you. That kind of love is rare, and I respected it. Still, I don't feel right just letting it go." James sighed again, but this time there was amusement in his expression. "Okay, then let's make a deal." She frowned. "What kind of deal?" "Since you insist on paying me back, let's start small." He grabbed his phone from his desk and tapped a few buttons. "Let me buy you and Owen dinner." Emily blinked. "Dinner?" Yes. You want to do something in return for me? Then let me take you both out. She opened her mouth to argue, but he held up a hand. Think of it this way. You're not accepting charity. You're just having dinner with a friend. It felt strange to hear from a man like James Reeves, a man so far removed from her world. And yet, something about the way he said it made it feel real. She hesitated, then nodded. All right, one dinner. That evening, Emily and Owen met James at a quiet Italian restaurant. Far from the flashy, high-end places she had expected someone like him to frequent. The moment they walked in, Owen's eyes lit up at the sight of the massive wood-fired pizza oven, and Emily couldn't help but laugh as he eagerly told James all about his favorite toppings. And James, for all his wealth and power, looked just as at ease as she felt. At one point, as Owen focused on his plate, James met her gaze. You know, you should let yourself accept kindness once in a while. Emily exhaled a soft laugh. I'm not used to it. James tilted his head. Maybe you should be. She wasn't sure how to respond to that, so she didn't. But as the night went on, as she laughed more than she had in years, as Owen leaned sleepily against her shoulder on the drive home, she couldn't shake the feeling that somehow, this man was becoming something more than just a fleeting act of generosity in their lives. James hadn't planned on seeing them again so soon after dinner, but something had shifted that night. Or maybe it was the realization that, for the first time in years, James himself had felt at ease too. So when he found himself driving back to their neighborhood a few days later, he told himself it was just a casual visit, nothing more. I figured Owen might want this back, he said, holding up the bag. Emily frowned. What is it? James smirked. You'll have to ask him. She gave him a look but let him in anyway, calling for Owen. The boy came barreling out of his room, skidding to a stop when he saw James. You came back. Did you bring snacks? James chuckled. Not this time, but I did bring something for you. He handed over the bag, and Owen pulled out the contents, a nearly identical toy car, but this one was brand new, gleaming red and unscuffed. His eyes widened. He held it up next to his old one, the difference stark. It looks just like mine, but fancy. James leaned against the couch. I figured your original car deserved a break after all those years. Now you've got one for special occasions. Owen grinned. Like rich people have a fancy car they only drive sometimes. James smirked. Exactly. Emily, standing nearby, folded her arms. You didn't have to do that. James shrugged. I wanted to. And that was the beginning of something neither of them had expected. James started stopping by more often, always under the pretense of something small, bringing Owen a book he thought he'd like, dropping off takeout after a long day, claiming he just happened to be in the neighborhood. And somehow, without even realizing it, he had let Emily and Owen become a part of his world, slipping past the walls he had built so carefully. For weeks, he had told himself it was nothing, that he was just being kind, that he was only looking out for Owen, because he admired the boy's determination. He had loved once before. He had trusted before, and he had been left shattered. James told himself he wouldn't let it happen again, so he pulled away, because if he let himself get any closer, he wouldn't survive it when she left. Emily noticed the shift, even if James thought she wouldn't. And now he was slipping away, just like everyone else. She didn't ask him about it. She didn't chase after him. If there was one thing she refused to do, it was beg someone to stay. So she pulled back too. And then, one evening, James canceled their plans without even offering to reschedule. Emily took that as the answer she had been dreading. Did I do something wrong? He asked quietly one night, as she tucked him into bed. Emily's heart clenched. Of course not, baby. Then why isn't James coming around anymore? He's busy. He has a lot of important things to do. Owen frowned. I thought we were important to him. Emily swallowed the lump in her throat. Me too. Owen didn't say anything else, but the next afternoon, when school let out, he had a plan. James hadn't expected to see Owen standing outside his office building. His heart dropped. Owen? You busy? Owen asked. James ran a hand through his hair. No. But Owen, how did you get here? Bus. Mom doesn't know. She'd freak out. James exhaled sharply. Yeah, I imagine she would. He crouched in front of Owen, trying to keep his voice even. You can't just go places by yourself, buddy. It's not safe. Owen shrugged, swinging his legs. I needed to ask you something. James hesitated. Okay, what is it? Owen tilted his head, studying him in a way that was far too observant for a child his age. Why are you making my mom sad? James felt the question like a punch to the ribs. He opened his mouth, then closed it. I'm not. You are, Owen said, cutting him off. She won't say it, but I can tell. She's been quiet. She smiles, but not the real kind. It's the fake one she does when she doesn't want me to worry. Owen. You like her, don't you? Owen asked, his tone so blunt, James nearly laughed. He let out a slow breath. It's complicated. Owen's brow furrowed. Why? Because sometimes when you care about someone too much, it hurts. And I don't want to hurt your mom. Or you. Owen tilted his head. But you're hurting her by leaving. Owen let out a sigh, sounding far too old for his age. Look, I don't know a lot about grown-up stuff, but I know that when people like each other, they're supposed to stick around. And if you're scared, that's dumb, because my mom's the best person ever. She's never hurt anyone. And if you make her happy, and she makes you happy, why would you stop coming over? James had no answer. Owen hopped off the bench, standing in front of him. I should probably get home before she finds out I was here, but you should fix it. James watched as the boy walked away, the weight of his words pressing down on him like a stone. But Owen was right. He was hurting Emily, and he was hurting himself. For the first time in a long time, James realized he was scared. But maybe, just maybe, it was time to stop running. That evening, when there was a knock on the door, Emily opened it without expecting anything, and then she stood frozen. Can I come in? Emily swallowed hard, her heart pounding. Then, against her better judgment, she stepped aside. Owen, hearing the movement, came running in from the other room. The moment he saw James, his face lit up. You came back. James gave him a small smile. Yeah, buddy, I did. He crouched down, holding out the box. I brought you something. Owen's eyes widened as he took it, peeling back the wrapping, with the kind of excitement only a child could have. When the toy car appeared in his hands, his mouth fell open. No way. It's just like mine. James nodded. I found it in a collector shop. Thought you might want it. But why? James hesitated, glancing at Emily before answering. Because some things are worth holding on to. This is the best thing ever. I'm going to put it next to my other one. He turned and ran off toward his room, leaving the two adults standing there in heavy silence. James exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. I don't know how to do this, he admitted finally. I don't know how to be the person who stays. Emily's throat tightened. Then why are you here? Because I can't walk away from you. From Owen. From this. Emily's eyes burned. James must have seen it, because he reached out gently, taking her hands in his. I don't just care about you, Emily. I need you. I need this. And if you tell me you don't feel the same, if you tell me to walk away right now, I will. But if there's even a part of you that wants me to stay, I swear I will spend every day proving to you that I'm not going anywhere. Emily let out a shaky breath, and then without thinking, without planning, without overanalyzing, she stepped forward and pressed her lips to his. James inhaled sharply, startled, but then his hands were on her waist, pulling her closer, deepening the kiss, like he had been waiting for this moment forever. When they finally pulled apart, he rested his forehead against hers, exhaling a soft laugh. So I'm guessing that means you want me to stay? Emily smiled, and for the first time in a long time, it felt real. Yeah. I do. Owen threw himself at them, hugging them both so tightly, that Emily let out a breathless laugh, wrapping her arms around her son and the man who had somehow become her home. And just like that, the life she had never dared to dream of was hers. A love she never thought she'd find. A family she never thought she'd have. And all because of a little boy, a toy car, and the man who had been brave enough to love them both. The wedding was small, just close friends and a few of James's more trusted colleagues. But it was perfect. Owen stood proudly beside them, grinning ear to ear as they exchanged vows. When James knelt down after kissing Emily, looking Owen in the eye and promising to love him like his own, Emily knew there wasn't a single doubt left in her heart. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a like. It really helps out the channel. And if you want more heartwarming and emotional stories like this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this one. I'd love to hear your reactions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.